Thank you to the Platinum level sponsors, National Structured Settlements Trade Association and Wells Fargo. Thank you to the Gold level sponsors, including Regeneron, JP Morgan Chase & Co., AT&T, Comcast NBC Universal, Highmark Health. Thank you to the Silver level sponsors, American Airlines, Google, Supermajority Education Fund, Northrop Grumman. Thank you to the leadership level sponsors, including AIG, Airbnb, American Baptist Home Mission Society, Anthem, Bayer, GSK, Covestro. Thank you to the advocate level sponsors, including MetLife, the IPC, Pacific Life, NFP, Alliant, Allsep, Prudential. Thank you to the supporter level sponsors, including Astura, Arcadia, Continental Trust, Inglis, Ability and Independence Redefined, MetaVest. Thank you to the Executive Committee, including Kathleen Martinez, John Walsh III, Joyce Bender, Michael Zullo, Margot Jaffe, and Susan Diegelman. Thank you to the AAPD Board of Directors, including Veronica Villalobos, Eric Vaughn, Rupert Valdez, Ricardo Thornton, Nora Swim. Thank you to the AAPD staff, including Jason Nita, Sophie Proust, Rachita Singh, Karen Starr, Vanita Vasco. Thank you to the AAPD Roundtable members, including Vendor Consulting Services, Inc., the Coca-Cola Company, Bank of America, American Airlines, Highmark Health, Google, Independent Life, JP Morgan Chase & Co., Prudential, Regeneron, Ted Kennedy Jr., the Kessler Foundation. Share the event at hashtag AAPD Gala. Donate at aapd.com/donate.
Hello, and thank you for joining us. Our program will begin momentarily.
Good evening and welcome to the 2022 AAPD Leadership Awards Gala. You are listening to the live audio description feed. A countdown appears. The event will begin in approximately 40 seconds. The MC for the evening, Jane Pauley, is a mature white woman wearing a light pink blazer over a maroon top with a gold necklace. She is sitting in the CBS Sunday Morning studio.
Welcome to the 2022 AAPD Virtual Leadership Awards Gala.
Words appear in memoriam. We honor and remember the lives we've lost in the disability community during the ongoing COVID pandemic.
Please welcome AAPD's 2022 MC, host of CBS Sunday Morning, Jane Pauley.
In the bottom left corner of the screen is an
Good evening and welcome. I'm Jane Pauley, host for tonight's 2022 Leadership Awards Gala for the American Association of People with Disabilities. I was honored to join you last year as your Image awardee, and I'm excited to be back with you tonight. AAPD has a great evening in store for you. We'll be hearing from national advocates and community leaders in the disability rights movement, a movement that includes over 61 million Americans. As many of you know, this includes me. As I've said before, I don't want to just erase stigma around all disabilities. I want to erase the very word. There should be no association with any negative word when it comes to who we are. After all, that's up to us. We get to decide who we are, who we want to be, and how we want to actively participate in community. For me, being part of this community is a privilege. After all, this community is made up of icons such as Justin Dart, Judy Heumann, Tony Coelho, and so many more. This includes leaders that are changing the way we look at and participate in the disability rights movement. To see these leaders, we need look no further than tonight's Paul G. Hearn Emerging Leader Award recipients, Nathan Tilton, Chris Wan, and Kiana Dorsey. You'll hear from these remarkable recipients later this evening as we learn more about their work and impact on the community. Being a person with a disability is different for every one of us. Our struggles, experiences, and frames of references are all different. However, we do connect to one another by understanding that our full equality and inclusion isn't full until all of us have it. This includes access to equal treatment and care, access to advancement opportunities in the workplace, and equal access to ballot boxes across the country. To do this work, it takes a committed team, which includes AAPD's dedicated staff, led by their president and CEO, Maria Town. Maria, thanks for all that you and the team at AAPD are doing to move us closer to the day where the country truly lives up to all that the ADA stands for. I'll be back with you in a bit. Until then, please enjoy the program ahead, and please welcome one of AAPD's tireless staff members, Jasmine Bailey.
Jasmine, a black woman of medium complexion wearing a long-sleeve multicolored floral print blouse. She is sitting in an elegant kitchen.
My name is Jasmine Bailey, and I'm the Operations Manager and Program Coordinator at AAPD. As the longest-serving staff member, I've seen firsthand the amazing work that AAPD does here. We are steadfast in our commitment to convene, connect, and catalyze towards the full inclusion of people with disabilities. Now, I know it takes a village, so I want to take time to personally thank you, the supporters, for making this work a reality. In addition to being a staff member, I'm also a proud graduate of the Summer Internship Program, which this year marks the 20th anniversary. This effort started in 2002, where we bring students and recent graduates from across the country to congressional offices in Washington, D.C. Over the years, we've seen over 400 interns be placed in congressional offices, federal agencies, nonprofit, and private corporations. And we're thrilled to continue this work to empower a fierce disability rights community. So I want to once again thank you to the funders and to the supporters for your commitment in ensuring that the disability community can look forward to meaningful and inclusive workplace. Now, I want to introduce one of our longtime funders, JP Morgan Chase. Thank you all so much for joining us tonight, and have a good evening.
Words of care. AAPD thanks JP Morgan Chase & Co. for their support of the 2022 Leadership Awards Gala.
Please welcome AAPD Board Chair, Susan Diegelman.
Susan is a medium-height white woman with blue eyes and shoulder-length blonde hair wearing a purple silk dress with a high neck. She is standing in front of a gray wall.
Hello, everyone. Thank you so much for being with us this evening. I want to start out by saying that Maria Town, President and CEO of AAPD, is unable to be with us this evening due to a family emergency. The themes throughout tonight's program are a direct reflection of Maria's spirit of advocacy and inclusion and her deep commitment to AAPD and its work to build a more just and equitable society. I'm truly sorry she's not able to be with us tonight. Thank you, Jane, for being such a wonderful MC, and thank you to our sponsors for making tonight's event possible. I want to specifically thank our silver, gold, and platinum sponsors for their support. AT&T, Bender Consulting Services, Comcast NBC Universal, Google, Highmark, JP Morgan Chase, Mitsubishi Electric America Foundation, Northrop Grumman, National Structured Settlements Trade Association, Regeneron, Supermajority, and Wells Fargo. Since the last year, I've had the privilege to serve as chair of AAPD's board of directors. I want to thank my fellow board members for their unwavering commitment to AAPD, for making tonight a success, and for something that is personally very important to me, ensuring that AAPD is here for the long haul. Also, a big thank you to our incredible, dynamic, and dedicated staff. Without you, none of our work would be possible. Speaking of staff, I'm glad you got to hear from Jasmine Bailey tonight. As an alum of the AAPD Summer Internship Program, Jasmine is emblematic of the young leaders that come up through AAPD's invaluable programs, including Summer Internship Program, a program that's celebrating its 20th anniversary this summer, the Hearn Awards, and NBC Universal Media Scholars. I am proud that young leaders see themselves in our movement to advance civil rights for people with disabilities, and then go on to find their own place in this movement. Many of our Hearn awardees, scholarship recipients, and internship alumni have gone on to start their own organizations, become experts in their fields, create opportunities for others with disabilities, and continue to push our movement forward through their work and dedication. These long-term outcomes of AAPD's programs highlight the importance of investing in individuals and people to advance disability employment and develop more disabled leaders. To maximize the impact of these individuals, AAPD works to foster systematic change. We engage in advocacy and policy work to remove the structural barriers that exist across many U.S. institutions. Through our Rev Up Voting Rights campaign, we're ensuring that every candidate for state, local, and national office knows that every issue is a disability issue. Over the past year, we have supported and partnered with 8 new Rev Up and Disability Vote coalitions for a total of 22 organizations across the country. The Rev Up Network, in collaboration with many partners, is doing the vital work necessary to prevent the further erosion of voting rights, especially for people with disabilities and disabled people of color. Within the legislative branch, this past year, we successfully advocated for investments in accessible green infrastructure and the expansion of affordable broadband to help close the digital divide faced by many people with disabilities. I'm excited that the bipartisan infrastructure law provides opportunities for disabled people across the country to directly shape the physical and digital landscapes of our communities. And while not all of our legislative priorities were met, we have forged new coalitions and brought a renewed energy to our advocacy work. Policy change is a long arc, but our team is in this fight for the long haul. Technology plays such a significant role in our daily lives, and this will only continue to increase as new technology is created and evolves much more quickly than our regulatory and policy frameworks can keep up. While tech has the power to create a more inclusive society by providing greater autonomy and economic opportunity, it can inadvertently exacerbate existing discrimination and structural barriers faced by historically marginalized groups. AAPD has been working diligently on issues related to disability bias in artificial intelligence, particularly in hiring, and has embarked upon efforts to get public interest and government organizations to be more inclusive and center disability within technology. I speak on behalf of the entire board of directors when I say how proud I am of AAPD's accomplishments this year, especially in light of the environment in which the staff has been working. For the past 3 years, disabled people have been dehumanized and devalued far too frequently. Mask wearing, vaccine access, and testing access have been inconsistent and only accessible to some. Caution, concern, and fear have been experienced by all members of our community during this time, especially those who are immunocompromised or high risk. When our nation's leading public health experts declared that the pandemic is over and said it was, I quote, encouraging news that 75% of all COVID deaths among vaccinated people were people with multiple disabilities because they were unwell to begin with, AAPD took a different and courageous approach, working with partners and advocates to declare that every single disabled life is worthy of protection and no one is dispensable. Despite a very difficult landscape, AAPD keeps up the fight, not only for ourselves, but for our families, our friends, and those that are new to the disability community. Every day, AAPD works in the hopes that those who are newly joining our community, whether they are living with long-haul COVID or children born with disabilities, will have true access, more role models, and equitable employment opportunities as their lives take shape. AAPD's mission is to convene, connect, and catalyze a passion for progress across our community and ensure that all Americans with disabilities are not only included in the American dream, but that we are at the very heart of it. You'll see me again later in the program, but for now, I leave you with one request. Please consider donating to AAPD to support our core programming. Tonight's event is free to all, which we are very proud of. Your dollars, no matter the size, will support our small but committed team. Now we are excited to introduce some special guests with us tonight. We are proud to have actor Selma Blair with us this evening. Selma has courageously shared her journey through MS and is a member of the disability community. When powerful voices like Selma's join the movement, we are all better for it. She's not only part of the movement, she's helping to lead it. Selma, thanks for all that you are doing and for taking the time to be with us tonight. After Selma, we'll be joined by tonight's presenting sponsor of the Paul G. Hearn Emerging Leader Awards, Regeneron. We thank Regeneron for underwriting these important awards and for also being a co-founding member of AAPD's Disability Advisory Roundtable. Now please welcome Selma Blair. Enjoy the program, and I will see you later.
Selma is a white woman with short blonde hair wearing a beige top with a necklace. She is sitting on a couch in front of a green wall.
Good evening, everyone. I am Selma Blair, and in 2018, I was diagnosed with an aggressive form of multiple sclerosis. Now, when I shared that diagnosis, many assumed that the news was tragic. But for me, I felt a profound sense of relief because there was a name for what I was feeling. There was a name for what I was experiencing. And so when I began to connect with people in the disability community, I learned about what my life could look like, what disabled joy, what access joy could feel like. So when I shared my story, I found community and connection. I felt understood and I felt seen for the first time, and everyone deserves that dignity of that feeling. And through the work of the American Association of People with Disabilities, it becomes more possible for more people. This organization is rooted in community and works to create policies and programs where people with disabilities can thrive, where this intractable part of our shared humanity is celebrated, as it should be, but we only get there by making visible the complexity and nuance of disability. It is my and every advocate's responsibility to do whatever we can to make sure every disabled person's identity is respected and celebrated. So to all of you here tonight, please tell your stories and listen to others. Make a phone call, whether it's to your congressperson or to a next door neighbor. Tell them about your fears, your hopes, your dreams. And to employers, make an effort. Hire more disabled people, not because it is the right thing to do, although it is, but because you and your project, whatever you are working on, will be better for it. Because I am not a victim of my disability. I am shaped by it. And it is an honor for this proud disabled woman to be with you tonight to celebrate the vital work of AAPD. Thank you.
Please welcome Chief Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion Officer for Regeneron Pharmaceuticals Incorporated, Smita Pillai.
Smita is a woman with brown skin and dark hair. She is wearing a navy top. Her background is a white wall and has a bookshelf filled with photos.
Good evening, everyone. I'm Smita Pillai, and I serve as Regeneron's Chief Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion Officer. Tonight, Regeneron is honored to be the presenting sponsor for this year's HERN Awards. Regeneron is a leading biotechnology company that invents life-changing medicines for people with serious diseases. We know as a science-led company that innovation is inextricably linked to inclusion. For us, our commitment to diversity, equity, and inclusion is at the heart of everything that we do. Bringing people together who see and experience the world differently leads to the best ideas and great science. While we have a long history of supporting equality and employment and inclusion for people with disabilities, we are committed to doing better. Our work for diversity, equity, and inclusion here at Regeneron is anchored around three core pillars: better workplace, better science, and better world. We have kept our strategy simple and yet powerfully linked to who we are and what we do as a company. Better workplace is close to my heart. It's about everything we do here at home to support our people. We continue to strive to be a place where every colleague can be themselves and succeed. Better Science is all about our passion and commitment to serve patients, and we work every day to reduce systemic inequities that get in the way of advancing science and medicine for all. And finally, Better World. This pillar of our DEI strategy is built on our core belief of doing well by doing good. It's our commitment to our communities and the fact that we will use our voice and our influence to make a unique difference for underrepresented groups. An important partner of this journey has been AAPD. Last year, we joined AAPD as a national partner and co-founding member of the Disability Advisory Roundtable. We share a common purpose to accelerate change on disability inclusion, and we value the incredible leadership, advocacy, and initiatives of AAPD. Each year, AAPD recognizes outstanding emerging leaders with disabilities who exemplify leadership, advocacy, and dedication to the broader cross-disability community with its AAPD Paul G. Earn Emerging Leaders Awards. I am so proud to present our first awardee for the evening, Kiana Dorsey, a junior at University of Miami, majoring in motion pictures production with a minor in creative advertising. Kiana was diagnosed with severe nut allergy at 18 months old, and by age 2, learned how to recognize her allergens on a label. With her award, Kiana will be creating an animated film based on her experience living with nut allergies in elementary school. The main character of the film learns to embrace her allergy after meeting a friend at the nut-free table. Kiana eventually plans to collaborate with others, including the disability community and school nurses, to release a self-advocacy curriculum in conjunction with the film. Kiana works to share her own moving story and continues to uplift the underrepresented stories and perspectives in media. Now, please welcome tonight's first AAPD Paul G. Earn Emerging Award recipient, Kiana Dorsey.
A young black woman with long, wavy hair smiles as she walks in slow motion in front of a background of autumn trees, wearing a white top.
I'm Kiana. I'm a junior at the University of Miami, majoring in film production with a minor in creative advertising. I'm a 2022 AAPD Paul G. Earn Emerging Leaders Award recipient.
Kiana is interviewed outdoors.
I was diagnosed with severe nut allergies at 18 months old. Everybody has a different reaction, but mine is the most severe, which is anaphylactic shock, which essentially means that my throat will close up when I come in contact with nuts, whether I ingest it or if I touch it. I'm skin sensitive as well. I have an EpiPen that I carry around with me, and I stab it in my leg if I feel like I'm having a reaction, and that gives me 15 minutes to get to the emergency room. Oftentimes in movies it's portrayed like that just saves you. That's not the case. It's very severe, and I had to educate everybody in my immediate circle how to use that EpiPen because it could save my life.
Kiana walks into a coffee shop where a chalkboard advertises baked goods. She scans the menu and speaks to the barista.
Hi, how are you? So I was just curious, I have a nut allergy. Do you guys have like a nut safe option that doesn't have cross-contamination or anything?
I guarantee you that none of them have cross-contamination, but we do have a lot of flavors that don't have nuts in them.
Okay.
Try our absolute best not to cross-contaminate.
All right. Thank you.
Of course, have a great day.
You too. Okay, well, can't eat here.
Photos of Kiana throughout her childhood.
Growing up, I kind of felt isolated in a way because I didn't see anybody packing an EpiPen in their backpack. So I was like, okay, this just must be a me thing. And I would have loved to have seen something that would have shown that I'm not alone and that there's a whole community of children out there that also have nut allergies. That's something that's severely underrepresented within the entertainment, film, TV community. And so I just made it upon myself to make sure that I would put that representation for other kids coming up behind me.
Photo of characters from the Food Friendly cartoon. A young black girl besides her friend, a young Muslim girl who wears a hijab. The caption, "New friends, no nuts," is above them. Then, storyboard panels from Food Friendly.
Food Friendly is an animated short film about a young girl who has nut allergies in elementary school and how she meets a friend and learns how to embrace her allergy and educate students around her about food allergy awareness. So the award money will go towards the creation of Food Friendly.
A scene of the young girls roller skating together, then a scene of them sketching with crayons. One young girl shows her artwork of a rainbow and flowers to her friend.
Right now, what I have is a rough animatic, which is basically like a rough draft of what I want the film to look like as a visual, so the money would help elevate this rough sketch into a clean animation.
Scene of the two girls from the rough draft of Food Friendly, both wearing allergy bracelets.
No, your bracelet. You're allergic to nuts too? Yep.
The animated characters hug.
Looks like you and I are lunch buddies.
Upon the film's release, I want to roll out a curriculum about food allergy awareness and partnering with the Association of School Nurses and making sure that they're involved and kind of have that network of education within schools upon the film's release. So it can be an interactive and entertainment, but educational experience as well. So with AAPD, I recognize that, it's not just the food allergy community, it's all types of disabilities. And I feel like what makes that even more valuable is when working on the project, people with their different experiences can bring authenticity to it and it will resonate in different ways. So what I wanted to do is have a closed screening with AAPD and their community and see how it touched them. And another piece that I really want to highlight in the curriculum is self-advocacy. Because from a young age, I had to be vocal and ask, what's in this, or I cannot have this. Flipping that on its head and it being a positive rather than a burden, like how self-advocacy is important for kids, how to speak up for themselves. When someone watches this, I want them to be like, wow, look mom, look dad, that's me. She has an EpiPen too, she has a medical alert bracelet. I just want them to relate and fully see themselves and feel as if they don't have to constantly be ostracized and just feel a sense of pride. My hope for Food Friendly is that the broader disability community relates and sees themselves in the film as well.
2022 AAPD Paul G. Hearn Emerging Leader Award.
Kiana is a black woman with long brown braids. She is wearing a silver shimmery long sleeve shirt and turquoise earrings. She is seated in front of a white wall.
Thank you. It is an absolute honor to be selected as a 2022 Paul G. Hearn Awardee recipient. I would like to thank the members of Respectability, specifically Lauren Applebaum and Vanny Lee, for encouraging me to apply for this award. I want to thank the AAPD team for their consideration and belief in my project and its importance. Most importantly, I must thank my mom, Karen Boyd, and my dad, Fitzgerald Dorsey, for changing my outlook on my food allergy and teaching me to use it as a pinnacle of strength and self-advocacy. At 18 months old, I was diagnosed with a life-threatening nut allergy that would become a challenge for the rest of my life. Although I knew a lot about my allergy and its severity, I did not see anyone else around me navigating similar experiences. There was a point in time when I thought I was the only little girl with a food allergy, and I hated it. I would watch TV shows and movies desperate to see a girl who looked like me wearing her medical alert bracelet and packing her EpiPen in her backpack. Instead, I saw false comedic representations of food allergy bullying or incorrect use of the EpiPen. Misrepresentation in film and television affected my life. Let me repeat, fictitious misrepresentation in film and television influenced my reality. Like the scene in the children's film Peter Rabbit, where the rabbits throw berries at the antagonist, knowing he's allergic, as a means to take him down. The scene makes light and fun of threatening food allergies and incorrectly shows how epinephrine is used. This is why I'm creating an authentic and accurate representation I didn't have for myself as a child, and using the funds from the Paul G. Hearn Awardee to educate others about food allergies. I chose the medium of animation so that I can target elementary school students and educate them on food allergy awareness and inclusion, while also appealing to a larger community of parents, teachers, the food allergy community, and the broader disability community. I'm also thrilled to announce that in addition to the film, I will be working with FAIR, which stands for Food Allergy Research and Education, to create a children's book version of Food Friendly. Upon the film's release and the children's book release, I plan to create an accompanying curriculum to further the conversation on education and self-advocacy. The workbook will teach students on food allergies and their severity through fun activities, as well as how to be an ally, while the guidebook for adults will further detail food allergy specifics and what conversations to have with their kids. FAIR is eager to share Food Friendly and supply additional resources. I will have educators and medical professionals to supervise the construction of the curriculum, and I plan to partner with the Association of School Nurses to get Food Friendly implemented in schools across the country. Many in the food allergy community don't consider their allergies to be a disability. Before my internship with the disability organization in 2020, I didn't identify with the disability community. Today, this surprises me because I have come to realize that there are so many shared experiences between those of us with food allergies and others with disabilities. From a young age, I was forced to be vocal and make sure everything was safe and that I'm accommodated, which I'm sure many of you guys can relate to. Like so many of my disabled peers, I have to ensure accessibility and accommodations when attending functions or even just hanging out with friends. I have felt the burden of educating and correcting others on their ignorance, and I have either seen my identity and experiences either severely misrepresented or not represented at all. The work of disability advocates who have come before me is what's made it possible for me to advocate for myself and know that I must be accommodated in my school and in my community. My hope is that the Food Friendly animated short film will make it easier for kids with food allergies to embrace their allergies, and by doing so, embrace disability. What sets the disability community apart from other marginalized groups is that anyone can join this community at any point in their lives. It doesn't discriminate. This is why I plan to use my platform and Food Friendly to highlight the shared experiences of both communities. I want kids with food allergies to realize that they are connected to a larger disability community that can support their advocacy. Being a Paul G. Hearn awardee means a lot to me, as he has accomplished so much for the disability community through his activism, leadership, and resiliency. I see so much of his legacy in the work of AAPD, and I plan to be a part of that legacy through the power of storytelling. For Food Friendly to be most effective, it will need a huge amount of collaboration among people who believe in the story and its power. If you are a filmmaker, educator, illustrator, medical professional, or simply want to get involved and are passionate about this project, this is a personal invitation to join me. Our stories matter and need to be included in the narrative. We belong in front of the camera, behind the camera, on set, in writers' rooms, because we have stories to tell. So I'm excited to get to work. Thank you.
Thank you, Kiana, and congratulations again on your award. Our final award recipients this evening are Nate Tilton and Chris Wan, co-founders of the Veterans Independent Research Organization. Together, Chris and Nate co-founded VERO for disabled veterans as an alternative to the Department of Veterans Affairs research. VERO conducts advocacy and community outreach to support veteran communities in both accessing and experiencing equitable treatment from the Veterans Affairs. VERO's work specifically aims to relieve the weight of substantial chronic staffing issues and under-resourcing on the Guam Veterans Affairs medical system for disabled Guamanian veterans. Nate is neurodivergent, chair user, service dog handler, disabled parent, anthropologist, and a veteran from Bay Point, California. He's currently a graduate student at the University of California, Berkeley, where he also works and studies in the Berkeley Disability Lab. Chris is a third-year medical student at the University of Washington School of Medicine. He was born in Hong Kong before immigrating to the United States with his family in 2000. He developed an interest in immigrant health during his early interactions with the US healthcare system as someone who had limited English proficiency. With the funding from the 2022 AAPD Paul G. Hearn Emerging Leader Award, both Chris and Nate will be able to fund initiatives that they are working on at VERO. It has been my pleasure being with you this evening. Now, let's hear from these two remarkable leaders as they accept tonight's final AAPD Paul G. Hearn Emerging Leader Award. Thank you.
A video plays.
An Asian male in his 30s with glasses and short hair, in a white lab coat with a stethoscope, walks through a hospital hallway. Then, the screen splits to show a brown disabled man in his late 30s with a beard and long black hair, wearing a light blue polo shirt in his power chair outdoors, with his service dog at his side. Both wear masks.
My name is Chun Yu Won, but I go by Chris.
My name is Nathan Tilton. I go by Nate Tilton.
And we are the recipient of the 2022 AAPD Paul G. Hearn Emerging Leader Award.
Chris reviews documents in uniform. Then, photos of Nate wearing his Army combat uniform in desert environments. Chris.
I enlisted in the California Army National Guard in 2006 when I was 17. I enlisted as a medic.
Nate.
I was in the military from 2005 to 2021. I recently retired. Chris and I met in 2008 at the NCO of the Year and the Soldier of the Year competition for the state of California. And then periodically we would bump into each other. And so yeah, we've just stayed in touch throughout our military careers and even our academic careers.
Chris walks past rows of military equipment with a fellow soldier.
After joining the service on day one, it is ingrained in every service member that you need to, in a way, suck it up. You know, the mission always comes first.
There's a lot of negative vocabulary built around disabled, the word disabled or the word broken.
As Nate speaks, he's shown in the park with his service dog. Then he speaks outside in his power chair with his service dog next to him.
I've really been privileged to learn about disability justice, which helped me transition into understanding what it means to be not just a disabled man, but really means to be a disabled veteran. A lot of the times the verbiage we use in the military keeps a lot of veterans from seeking help. I did that for a long time myself, actually. You know, I came back from my first deployment and my platoon sergeant at the time, he says to me, he says, Tilton, I think you have PTSD. And instead of really seeking help, I jumped on the first deployment I could back to Iraq.
Photo of Nate deployed wearing sunglasses and holding his gun.
Because I refused to accept the idea that I could be disabled. A lot of veterans won't admit to themselves that they're disabled. There's a barrier there with that word disability or disabled that keeps them from admitting that or even embracing that. The goal of my research is to bridge the gaps between the disabled veteran community and the U.S. disability community and bring them together. So I was talking to a battle buddy of mine and he asked me, he said, have you ever thought about the veterans in Guam? Have you ever heard of the issues that they're facing? And I said no, so he filled me in on it.
There are about 22,000 veterans on Guam, and there is only one VA clinic on the island served by about 3 staff psychiatrists, and that's a very high ratio. For tertiary higher care, more complex care, they would have to travel the closest to Hawaii.
They shouldn't have to travel 6 hours away to another location to receive care, and that led me to really want to make changes and to really address these systemic issues.
Nate is shown engaging in conversation about his research. He wears a mask.
Nate reached out to me to try to establish an organization that benefits health of disabled veterans in general, but right now specifically to Guam.
One that's founded on disability justice, but also founded on humanizing veterans in the research. And so that's where we came up with the Veterans Independent Research Organization, or VIRO, as we like to call it.
The AAPD Paul G. Hearn Emerging Leader Award will go towards funding research and documenting the veterans' experience in order to better advocate and also push for more funding for veterans who are underserved, specifically for now in Guam.
For the first year, we're going to be focused on collecting stories and documenting the experience of disabled veterans in Guam.
Nate plays a video on his phone of a veteran telling their story.
Why do you continue to push forward left over right? What's motivating you? We want to know at the Battle Buddy Talk.
I think that's a good example of what we're going to capture. We are working directly with the veteran community. We're working together with them.
Exterior shots of VA buildings.
Like the VA, for instance, it's not very dissimilar to the military, right? It's very much, this is what we're going to do. This can really work to benefiting not just disabled veterans, but other disabled folks.
With our research, we hope that it's driven by the veterans themselves. The long-term goal of the project, hopefully we can, using the data collected from our ethnographic and quality improvement projects to kind of advocate at the federal level to the VA and the Congress for more equitable healthcare distribution towards underserved communities.
Slow motion video of Nate driving his power chair down the sidewalk with his service dog at his side. Then video of Chris working under the hood of an Army ambulance.
If our research at VIRO can help one veteran potentially feel connected to a greater veteran community, then it's all worth it.
2022 AAPD Paul G. Hearn Emerging Leader Award.
Nate is a man with brown skin and dark hair. He's wearing a light blue shirt and dark blue sport coat with lapel pin. His background is a white wall with 2 framed degrees and a framed dress military uniform.
Good evening, everyone, and thank you for awarding Chris and I the Paul G. Hearn Emerging Leader Award. We are truly humbled, blessed, and honored to receive it. Thank you to the AAPD Advisory Committee for having the generosity to select us, the AAPD staff for their patience and guidance, and thank you to the speakers here today. I am earnestly grateful for the recognition we have received for our work and the potential of our work, because I have no doubt that every applicant for this award is amazing. It is an even greater honor to be placed in such distinguished ranks as those of the past Paul G. Hearn Award recipients, most of whom I have yet to work with, but I hope to someday. Special thanks goes to our partners in Guam, John Concepcion and Ray Gamboa of Got Your 671, and Ray Shinohara of Green Valor. My Vero co-founders Chris Wan and Mike Flores, Dr. Karen Nakamura and the UC Berkeley Anthropology Department, the UC Berkeley Disability Lab, the Berkeley Disability Community, and the University of California Disability Community, Sal Ueda, and my family. You know, when I dropped out of high school over 20 years ago due to the lack of accommodations and ableism, and if you would have told me that I would be giving this speech before you today, I would not have believed it. There are so many disabled people who are forced to make life-altering decisions like I did because of ableism and a lack of support. Just look at what's happening at the Veterans Administration Outpatient Clinic on Guam. You know, currently on Guam, at the VA Community Outpatient Clinic, there are 2 primary care specialists and 3 mental health care providers and a handful of staff to care for over 22,000 veterans. Instead of the VA building more clinics or adding more healthcare professionals on Guam, the government pays for veterans who need more in-depth or specialty care to be flown to the state of Hawaii at the cost of $3,000 round trip, not including the cost of a hotel, which at 22,000 veterans has a potential to reach over $50 million annually. And although the disabled people of the U.S. territories such as Guam and Puerto Rico are considered U.S. citizens, they are not eligible for Supplementary Security Income, or SSI. Many disabled veterans need SSI to increase income stability for themselves and their families. Some disabled vets don't qualify for VA healthcare, but they can get healthcare through SSI. Other vets still use the Medicaid and Medicare health benefits that come with SSI/SSDI to supplement VA health services, which, as I've already told you, leaves a lot to be desired. None of these are options for disabled veterans on Guam. And so the poverty trap faced by so many disabled people is even bigger for folks on Guam. The income inequality, food insecurity, and inadequate health care because disabled people in the U.S. territories are categorically denied access to life-sustaining benefits. And this is just one of the barriers to improving access to mental health supports for disabled veterans on Guam. And I look forward to one of Vero's initiatives addressing this issue. But I'll let my friend and battle buddy Chris tell you about another issue.
Chris is an Asian man with cropped hair and glasses. He's wearing a dark gray suit with a red striped tie. His background is a white wall with an art poster in San Francisco.
My name is Chris Wan, and I'm a medical student who will be graduating next year. To become a fully qualified physician in the United States, a medical school graduate must complete residency training. Unfortunately, not all medical school graduates can become fully trained because there's a bottleneck at the residency match. The funding for residency slots is tied directly to Medicare funding, which has not seen substantial increase between 1996 and 2020. We are already behind the curve in producing physicians. The U.S. is projected to have a shortage of 40,000 to 120,000 physicians by the year 2030. In 2021, approximately 2,200 U.S. medical school graduates were unable to start residency training because they were not matched for the program. The projected physician shortage will be detrimental to the health and well-being to the disabled community, not just in Guam, but the entire United States. As we see in Guam, the U.S. healthcare system is already strained, marginalized communities in more remote areas are already being left behind. I urge you to reach out to your representatives and senators in order to address this shortage before it's too late. The call to action I just issued is an example of what is possible for Vero since being selected for the Paul G. Hearn Emerging Leader Award. With this recognition and support from the AAPD, we'll have the opportunity to introduce our project to the greater disability community. It feels deeply validating to have the disability community acknowledge the need to improve the medical disparity experienced by disabled veterans on Guam. One of our project's goals is to help improve Guamanian veterans' access to physicians by guiding interested folks to get into medical school. However, the impact of our project is relatively small compared to what Congress can do. While Vero works to remove barriers to medical school for individual students, I hope all of you watching tonight will support our efforts by pushing for systemic change. Please tell Congress to end the exclusion of disabled people in the territories from public benefits and to increase Medicare funding for residency placements so that we can end the physician shortage in the U.S. Thank you again for this honor.
Return to Jane in the studio.
Welcome back. I hope you're enjoying tonight's program as much as I am. How remarkable are tonight's Paul G. Hearn Emerging Leader awardees? Kiana, Chris, and Nate, allow me to congratulate each of you for receiving this honor. One well-deserved for the game-changing work you're all doing for disability rights and inclusion. Some might refer to you as the future of the movement, which is true, but you are very much leading in the present, showing each of us how to fight, how to give back, and how to be a contributing member of this community. Thank you for all that you do and keep up the amazing and transformative work. Each year, AAPD recognizes a corporation that has proven over and over that they not only are an ally, but rather a part of the broader disability rights movement. Corporate America can and will play a major role in the next round of fights for this movement, including tackling unemployment, an issue that we must stay focused on if we're to make new gains for those with disabilities seeking employment. Tonight's AAPD Corporate Leadership Award recipient is Highmark Health, which is being accepted by their president and CEO, David Holmberg. Joining us to present tonight's award is U.S. Senator Bob Casey from the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania, which is where Highmark Health is based. Before Senator Casey joins us, he'll be introduced by Joyce Bender, AAPD's Vice Chair of the Board of Directors and a fierce advocate who has made hiring people with disabilities her life's mission. First, let's hear from another one of tonight's sponsors and co-founder of AAPD's Disability Advisory Roundtable, Wells Fargo.
Andrew Holbrook is a white male with dark brown hair. He's wearing a white shirt and a tan blazer. His background is a green wall with framed family photos.
Good evening. I'm Andrew Holbrook, Enterprise President of Wells Fargo's Disability Connection Employee Resource Network. On behalf of all of us at Wells Fargo, I want to congratulate AAPD on another successful gala and thank all of tonight's award recipients for their leadership and commitment to advancing opportunities for people with disabilities. Wells Fargo is a proud sponsor of tonight's event. And at Wells Fargo, we are committed to empowering and employing people with disabilities. We are honored to collaborate with AAPD on our shared vision of inclusion. Our common priorities include promoting employment for diverse talent and changing common perceptions and structures that act as barriers to meaningful employment for people with disabilities. I want to thank AAPD's Board of Directors, including Kathy Martinez, with whom I've had the great pleasure of working at Wells Fargo, as well as AAPD President and CEO Maria Town. We look forward to working with them and everyone at AAPD in supporting disability employment advocacy. Thank you and have a great evening.
Joyce Bender is a white woman with curly brown hair, purple glasses, and wearing a pink blazer. She is seated in her home office.
Hi, everyone. I'm Joyce Bender, the Vice Chair of the American Association of People with Disabilities, where I have proudly served for over 10 years. Tonight, I have the great honor of introducing to you Senator Bob Casey, not only a staunch ally of the disability rights community, but a fighter, a patriot who fights for us every single day. How grateful we are that tonight he would join us to present the Corporate Leadership Award to my good friend, David Holmberg, on behalf of Highmark Health. Let's welcome from the great state of Pennsylvania, Senator Bob Casey.
Senator Casey is a white man with white hair wearing a dark navy suit. He is sitting in front of a wall with photos and a tall bookshelf.
Joyce, thank you for your kind introduction, for your many years on the AAPD board, as well as your tireless advocacy on behalf of people with disabilities. And I'm grateful to be with all of you this evening as we recommit ourselves to improving access and opportunity for people with disabilities. While the Americans with Disabilities Act was and is a transformative piece of legislation, there is much left to do to ensure that its goals are met. To achieve full inclusion of people with disabilities, we need dedicated partners. Whether it's ensuring inclusion in the workplace by participating in the Disability Equality Index, or as a member of AAPD's new Disability Advisory Roundtable. Businesses can be a game changer when it comes to equity for people with disabilities. One of those game changers, one of those champions, is tonight's AAPD Corporate Leadership Awardee, Highmark Health's David Holmberg. I've known David for many years, and I appreciate his leadership in healthcare all across our state and well beyond Pennsylvania. I'm proud that Highmark is based in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. Highmark has been a leader in hiring people with disabilities. So for their unwavering commitment to disability rights, I'm pleased to present the Corporate Leadership Award to President and CEO, Mr. David Holmberg. David, congratulations to you and to your team at Highmark. God bless your work.
David Holmberg is a white man with brown hair wearing a dark blue suit. His background is a live shot of Pittsburgh's North Shore neighborhood.
I'm honored and humbled to join everyone this evening. Supporting an inclusive workforce is more than the right thing to do. It makes Highmark Health a stronger business and more valuable to our customers. I'd like to thank the AAPD and the members of its board of directors for recognizing Highmark Health and the impact we're having on hiring people with disabilities. I also want to salute Maria Town, President and CEO of AAPD. She's a real inspiration and a terrific partner as we try to do the right things moving forward. Speaking of inspiration, I'd like to recognize my fellow honorees, Kiana, Chris, and Nate. It's your future, that we're working toward. And the fact that you're out there making a difference is really important to all of us. At Highmark Health, we've developed business resource groups, we have onboarding programs, and we have sustainable success models, primarily thanks to Joyce Bender and Bender Consulting, who have helped us become a better organization and effectively hire people with disabilities and help them be successful and exceed their own expectations. So again, thank you for everything that you're doing. We appreciate this honor, and on behalf of the 37,000 people at Highmark Health, we appreciate it.
Becky Puente is a woman with a tan complexion and light brown hair. She is wearing a white shirt with bright pink lipstick. She is seated in
Good
bright
evening.
room.
My name is Jackie Puente, and I'm an Associate Vice President for External Affairs at Comcast NBC Universal. And on behalf of our entire company and my wonderful colleagues, it's an honor and a pleasure to be with you all this evening to celebrate the AAPD Gala. First and foremost, I want to thank tonight's distinguished honorees. Reading your stories and hearing about your advocacy has been truly amazing. And I'm so proud and inspired by your work to help advance equity for all Americans. I also want to thank Maria Town and the entire AAPD staff and the other board of directors for their work to put together tonight's event and for all your work throughout the year to advance advocacy and hard work to make sure that all Americans can participate fully in our economy and in our society. At Comcast NBC Universal, we're proud to partner with AAPD throughout the year, not just during special nights like this, but with work to help get more Americans access to the internet, high-speed internet, through our Internet Essentials program, as well as work we do on the NBC Universal side to help advance the representation of people with disabilities on screen, in front of and behind the camera. This is a wonderful celebration, and we're so happy to be a part of it. Thank you and have a great night.
Return to Susan.
Hello again. I hope you're enjoying tonight's program as much as I am. But we aren't done yet and have a very special guest coming up next. Someone who has been tasked with taking on the challenges of the future. ensuring that this country is made and rebuilt in a way that is for everyone, including Americans with disabilities. You might know him formerly as Mayor Pete, but we are now proud to call him Secretary Buttigieg. The Secretary is dedicated to ensuring that transportation infrastructure serves as a tool and step toward true equal access for people with disabilities, and we are grateful for it. Please welcome Secretary of the U.S. Department of Transportation, Pete Buttigieg.
Secretary Buttigieg is a white man with short brown hair. He is wearing a dark gray suit and blue tie. The background is blue and features an American flag and text, U.S. Department of Transportation.
Thank you, Susan, for your leadership, and thank you to everyone at AAPD, from President and CEO Maria Town to every staff member, intern, volunteer, and supporter. And I want to recognize those being honored tonight. To everyone who's working to ensure that people with disabilities can live as they choose, work as they want, both serve and receive services in their communities in the way that is right for them, thank you. You have done so much to widen the circle of who belongs and who gets to share fully in the American dream. By widening that circle, this community has made more room for everyone from every walk of life, whether or not they have a disability, to step, ride, or roll into it and feel that fundamental sense of belonging along the way. But we know there's so much more to do. When it comes to transportation, many of our most important moments in life depend on mobility, on being able to get where you need to go. It is central to our personal and professional lives, and it is a matter of dignity. If you're not able to travel solely because somebody else has decided it's too hard to accommodate you, then your world effectively shrinks. It's not fair, nor is it wise for a country to constrict the lives of over 60 million Americans. So we know that transportation can be a barrier to accessibility, or it can be a way to break down barriers and help allow everyone to live lives of their choosing and reach their fullest potential. And that is what drives our work. Last month, we proposed a new rule that would increase the size of lavatories on single-aisle aircraft so passengers who use wheelchairs can better access them. And I would encourage everyone to review that proposal and share feedback on the effectiveness and timeliness of the accessibility improvements in the proposed rule so that we can make it as beneficial as possible. Another very frequent topic when I'm with friends and advocates from the disability community is concern that the airline personnel who handle wheelchairs or physically lift people onto or out of their aircraft seats are not adequately trained, and this puts passengers' safety at risk. So we've initiated work on a rule that would improve training for these employees and make damaging or delaying wheelchairs a violation, subject to fines. We're also using funding from the President's historic bipartisan infrastructure law to roll out comprehensive investments to make our roads safer for all users, including people with disabilities. And we're distributing billions of dollars to make trains and subways and buses and airports more accessible. Whether you're boarding a flight for a travel overseas or going across the street for a cup of coffee, we have you in mind as we accelerate our work to deliver a transportation system that is accessible to everyone. And when we do, it will be because the disability community and the champions being honored tonight led the way. We are proud to be with you in this important work. Thank you again, and I hope you have a terrific event.
Return to
Please welcome back tonight's MC, Jane Pauley.
Thank you for having me with you this evening. While we've been virtual again this year, know that you're not alone, that you have community and support all around you, that we're all in this together. In some ways, so much has changed since the ADA was passed and enacted into law over 30 years ago. In some ways, we're still very much fighting for basic respect, quality of life, and independence. We're also defending our youth from bullying, addressing massive unemployment, ensuring there are accessible treatment options for those with mental health disabilities, and fighting to make sure our voices are heard on Capitol Hill and beyond. If we know anything about our community, it's that we don't give up. We don't take no for an answer. And above all, we are resilient. I'm proud to be part of the community. I know you are too. And as I close out tonight, I'm reminded of what one of AAPD's founders and champions of the ADA, the late Senator Bob Dole, encouraged us all to do before his passing last year, which was to make one person's life better each day. Whether they are small or grand gestures, we're all capable of helping one another, encouraging one another, and in offering our solidarity as a fellow fighter for equality. I, for one, will try to emulate Senator Dole and all those in the community who have left us with examples and roadmaps to follow as we navigate the next 30 years of the ADA. Until our paths cross again, thanks to each of you and to everyone at AAPD for carrying our movement forward. Onward and upward, my friends. Good night.
The event logo appears with the 4 blocks and 2 rows showing 2022 AAPD Leadership Awards Gala. This concludes tonight's event. Thank you for joining us for the audio description of the 2022 AAPD Leadership Awards. This is Kelly Brennan and Bridget Melton signing off.
Thank you for joining the 2022 AAPD Virtual Leadership Awards Gala.